Good evening, I'm Mr. Michael and you're watching Kini News. The 44th President of the United States, Barack Obama, is in Kuala Lumpur where he spoke to hundreds of people at an event organized by the Obama Foundation. He even talked about conflict of values and reconciliation. So if you're from PKR, listen up, this could be useful. Former US President Barack Obama said leaders need to accept that there would sometimes be a conflict of values within their society and they have to work on reconciliation.
One of the things as leaders that all of you are going to have to do is accept that sometimes there are going to be some contradictions where it's not just a right and a wrong, sometimes it's two rights that you have to reconcile or two wrongs that you have to deal with.
Speaking at a session of the Obama Foundation program in Kuala Lumpur earlier today, Obama said leaders must also learn to accept the fact that the people and cultures started in different places. They should not be expected to share the same way of thinking, at least not immediately.
You're going to have to feel comfortable, I think, at times with the fact that people start at different places, cultures start at different places. If you're organizing in a rural area, you're not going to immediately be able to expect that people are going to think the same way that somebody in a big city is going to think. If you're dealing with older populations, they're not going to have the same ideas as younger populations, and you have to show some respect for where people are before you can take them where you want them to be.
The contents of his speech may be geared towards leaders in society, but he also shared something a lot of us could use in our daily lives: work-life balance. In office, he was considered one of the most powerful leaders in the world, and today he shared how he managed his work-life balance and why he did it. Responding to a question from the audience at the Obama Foundation program earlier today, he shared what he considered to be a priority.
Let's just say for me, on my deathbed, I am confident that I will not remember any bill I passed. I will not remember any speech I gave, any big crowds. I won't be thinking about the inauguration. I will be thinking about holding hands with my daughters and taking them to a park, or seeing them laugh while they're playing in the water, or, right? Like, that is going to be the thing that lasts. That's going to be the thing that sticks.
Obama served as the 44th president for 2 terms, from 2009 to 2017, and his wife Michelle has been a key pillar of support.
I'll be honest with you. The reason that I was able to run for president was because I hadn't married somebody who was just cute but stupid. I had this incredibly strong partner. As much as I was going to miss them during the 2 years I was running for president, I had confidence that they were going to be okay, partly because they were in a community, right? My mother-in-law, and Michelle had all these friends and neighbors and people who could support and make sure that those kids were going to be fine during those periods of time that I was gone.
If you're hoping the media would just ignore the PKR infighting for just a moment and focus on something more important, today is your lucky day. Here's Anwar Ibrahim talking about the economy.
PKR President Anwar Ibrahim said that the 21st Malaysia Economic Monitor, titled Making Ends Meet, a report published by the World Bank earlier this month, should motivate the government to shift gear with regard to addressing issues plaguing the nation. According to him, the report highlighted how Malaysia is facing a challenging global economic scenario. The former finance minister said in order to overcome these challenges, the government must be more focused and decisive in fulfilling the Pakatan Harapan manifesto promises to uplift the poor and marginalized segments of society. Anwar pointed out that the scenario is more bleak for the rural poor in Kelantan, Kedah, Terengganu and the rural heartland of Sabah and Sarawak. Various quarters have criticized the Harapan government of being too absorbed in politicking. Last month, in a letter penned to the voters on the eve of the Tanjung Piai by-election, Prime Minister Dr. Mahathir Mohamad conceded that Harapan cannot be shifting the blame to Barisan Nasional always in relation to its efforts to develop the nation.
It's a good day for PKR Vice President Rafizi Ramli because his NFC case has finally come to an end.
The Attorney General's Chambers has withdrawn its appeal against PKR Vice President Rafizi Ramli's acquittal in the National Feedlot Corporation or NFC Banking and Financial Institutions Act 1989 or BAFIA case. Rafizi's lawyer Ahmad Nizam Hamid confirmed that matter with Malaysia Kini. He explained that Attorney General Tommy Thomas, through a deputy public prosecutor, withdrew the appeal notice that was filed previously. This means that the November 15th decision by the High Court in Shah Alam to acquit Rafizi stands. Nizam thanked Thomas for the decision and said that this marked a close to a 7-year NFC saga. Nizam maintained that the former Pandan MP had no personal financial interest in the NFC case except to, quote, save public funds.
The Malaysian Aviation Commission or MACOM is not happy that the Transport Ministry has proposed to merge it with the Civil Aviation Authority. It wasn't the reaction the Transport Minister had expected.
The Malaysian Aviation Commission or MACOM will be consolidated with the Civil Aviation Authority of Malaysia, but the end for MACOM will not come immediately. Transport Minister Anthony Loke said that MACOM can still operate independently for at least another 6 months.
Well, I can really say that minimum will take at least 6 months. It will be probably longer than that, because number one, we need to discuss about the structure. And then the structure, the new structure, and how do we transfer all the roles of MACOM into CAM. And that will take some time in terms of consultation, in terms of discussion.
Loke said that the consolidation exercise would make Malaysia's regulatory body more efficient and reduce red tape. The minister also said he was surprised by MACOM Executive Chairman Nungsari Ahmad Radhi's disappointment over the consolidation exercise.
So I'm not sure why was he upset. He mentioned that the government can make a decision, policy decision, and that is what the government is doing. The cabinet is doing in terms of setting a policy decision on what is the way forward.
MACOM was set up in 2016 as an independent body under the Malaysian Aviation Commission Act 2015 to regulate economic and commercial matters related to civil aviation.
Will Donald Trump become the third president in US history to be impeached? The gears are moving, and we may find out soon. US lawmakers moved closer to impeaching Republican President Donald Trump as members of a House of Representatives committee debated formal changes in a marathon session that began Wednesday night and lasted all day Thursday. The House Judiciary Committee is expected to approve 2 articles of impeachment, setting up a vote by the Democratic-controlled House next week that is expected to make Trump the third president in US history to be impeached. Trump is charged with abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. If the House votes to impeach, he would then go on trial in the Senate. The Republican-led chamber is unlikely to vote to find the president guilty and remove him from office. Republicans on the Judiciary panel repeatedly complained about the procedures followed by Democrats in the impeachment inquiry and said Democrats had overplayed their hand in a desperate attempt to overturn the results of the 2016 election. Democrats accused Trump of abusing his power by trying to force Ukraine to investigate political rival Joe Biden and of obstructing Congress when lawmakers tried to look into the matter.
Forget about President Trump. Is any one of my colleagues willing to say that it is ever okay for a president of the United States of America to invite foreign interference in our elections?
Trump has denied wrongdoing and condemned the impeachment inquiry as a hoax. Much of the impeachment focus has been on the July 25th phone call in which Trump asked the Ukrainian president to investigate Biden and his son Hunter, who was on the board of a Ukrainian gas company. 6 bodies have been recovered by a New Zealand military team from the volcanic island that fatally erupted earlier this week.
A New Zealand military team recovered 6 bodies today from the volcanic island that fatally erupted earlier this week in a high-risk operation watched by dozens of grieving family members waiting on the mainland. Military personnel worked as quickly as possible after using helicopters to land on White Island, which experts have said still has a 50 to 60% chance of another eruption in the coming hours. Police said that 6 of the 8 bodies on the island were successfully retrieved and taken to the HMNZS Wellington naval patrol vessel. Recovery teams had good knowledge of the location of those 6 before they landed. The whereabouts of the other 2, however, was less certain. New Zealand Police Commissioner Mike Bush said that dive teams have been deployed in the waters around the island, which is also known by its Maori name of Wakari, while another aerial search will be conducted later on Friday. The volcano, a popular tourist destination for day trippers, erupted on Monday, spewing ash, steam and gases all over the island. Among the 47 people on the island at the time were Australian, US, German, Chinese, British and Malaysian tourists.
And here are several other news highlights from today. And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'm Prasad Michael. Thank you for watching. Good night.